Hey guys, welcome back to LG Homestead. I am so glad that you are here. I do need to give you a little bit of a warning. This video is going to be different from all the other videos that I have ever done before because there is something on my mind that I've been thinking about, and it has to do with a comment that was left on my last video. This video is not going to be for everyone, but I ask that if you start watching the video, that you watch it all the way through and that you hear me out. And thank you guys for your support. I don't get negative comments very often, and it seems like the bigger the channel, the more comments that you get, and the more negative comments that you get. And some channels, for whatever reason, tend to get more negative comments than others. But as far as my channel goes, I don't get a whole lot of comments. There's one comment every 3, 4, 5 videos that just like gets under my skin. But I usually take a couple of days and think about it, and ultimately what I usually do is either block them or just delete the comment. But in this case, I've not done anything yet, and that is where this video comes in. This video is my response to thinking about the comment for a couple of days. So in the last video, I talked about my birds. I've got some free-range birds here that really aren't supposed to be free-range. They're supposed to be in that pen over there, but I told you if they get out, I was fine with that as long as they went back up in here in this pen at night so that they were a little bit more protected. Now there's no top on this, so obviously they're not 100% protected from things like owls or raccoons. And we do have raccoons out here. We've trapped a few of them this year and eliminated those, and hopefully eventually, we're out in the country, eventually more are going to come back, and we have a trap that we set every night up here by the meat birds. So, you know, eventually we'll have them come back and we'll have to set more traps out and we'll have to take care of those. But for right now, they've already gone back over here into the pen where they're supposed to be. I'm fine with that. The rest of them, the ducks, stay right here with Rocky, and they're more safe there with Rocky than they are in the other pen by themselves. In the big coop over here, I have my egg layers. I have barred rocks, and those are the purpose of those. The hens are to lay eggs. We get the eggs from that flock, and so that flock, not quite Fort Knox, but it's a lot safer than free ranging or in these open pens, and because I want to make sure that I keep those. And then also in there, if you watch the last video, if you didn't watch the last video, stop this video, go watch the last video, come back to this point and start watching. It will make a lot more sense. But in the last video, I showed you I have a goat out there in that big coop. There he is. That's Chase. Having him in here is not ideal. It is not what I want at all. But he was over here in this other pen, and Chase was born on our farm. He's never been one to get out, but the girls are in heat. The female goats are over here, for those of you who are new to the channel. And so it's not that far of a distance between the two, but they do, you know, there's the does are over here, the bucks are over here, and that's the way it's been. But he has started getting out, and one day he got over with the does. The problem with that is that he is related to half the does over there, so I don't really, I've got too many roosters. So I don't really want him breeding with any of those that he's related to. Plus, I don't want him breeding with anyone right now, because if he breeds with them right now, and I hope that he hasn't, he wasn't in there very long, but with goats it doesn't take very long. But he was in there. If he bred any of them, that means we're looking at having Nigerian dwarf babies in January. And the Nigerian dwarfs are a little bit different from the bigger goats, and the babies don't do well in the cold, and that's why I like them in the spring. And actually this year I was going to breed them later so that they would be later into the spring, so we'll get past a lot of the colder nights. I only have that little shelter, and it's made out of wood pallets, and I don't have electricity out there, and I don't have a heat lamp. I know some channels, some people breed their Nigerian dwarfs all year round, but they put heat lamps, or they have a fancy barn, or they have some way to protect those babies. I don't. So no babies in January, February, or even March this year. So in that last video, I talked about why the goat is there. I told exactly why he's there and my concerns, and I talked about the problems I'm having with that rooster, which is he is attacking me. Now guys, on most farms, when a rooster won't quit attacking you, they cull it. And what I mean by cull it, they either get rid of it, like they give it away or sell it or something. But more often than not, they kill it. It ends up as soup, or it ends up as pig feed. And some people even feed it back to the chickens because they'll do that. But this is my rare death layer rooster. It's the only one I have, and so I want to keep it. I want to try to change its behaviors, and I took some advice from some of the audience. You guys left comments, and I took advice from those comments and tried one of the methods that you guys have given me. And someone didn't like that. There was a comment left on that video that just like, it got under my skin. It was clear to me that this person was not a subscriber or had ever watched any of my videos before, and somehow felt that her opinion was more important than any fact out there. With a little bit of research, she could have learned a little bit and kept her mouth shut, or kept her fingers still and whatever. This person proceeded to tell me how we people relentlessly try to pin up animals and keep them caged, which it's for the protection. In the wild, goats get eaten, birds get eaten. I've never heard of wild chickens. I don't know where chickens come from, but I'm pretty sure they're not out in the wild. If I'm wrong, tell me, because but turkeys get eaten, goats get eaten, wild dogs get eaten. Everything is a prey. Even the predators are prey. And so to cage an animal up, to fence them in, is for their protection, and it's also for the protection of other people, because we have a larger population now. We live closer together, even though we're out in the country. Right across the street is 10 acres where my parents live. I have a neighbor over here who has 80 acres, and then across the street they have 100 acres. They have 100 cattle too, and I don't want them over here on my cattle. So it's for the protection of people, and it's for the protection of the animals that we cage them up. And she told me that goats specifically, absolutely, in her words, absolutely need large rocks and things to climb on. They need to be out eating grasses and things that they would normally forage on in the wild. And I'll agree with that to an extent. The real large rocks and things to climb on. Why do goats want large things, rocks and large things to climb on? So their hooves don't get too long. So that's why I have these things, these hoof clippers, and I trim their hooves every so often. It's also a form of protection. They're up high. They're, predators can't get to them as easily. So they're in a fence, and I clip their hooves. So I've checked off 2 boxes that they need. As far as the food goes, I agree. That goat needs hay, or he needs grass, or he needs leaves, or he needs vegetables. He needs something other than what he's got in there. I feed him goat feed. It's a goat feed from my local feed store that is made specifically for goats, not sheep and goats, goats. It has all the minerals he needs, including the copper, which, by the way, if I just release this goat and let him do what he wants, he would be copper deficient, because we don't have enough copper in our grasses, in our ground here. So he's lucky I've got him caged up. And I'll also agree that that's not the best situation for him. It's that's not ideal. It's not big enough. It doesn't have enough greens in it, and chickens aren't the best roommate for a goat. A goat needs another goat. They absolutely, not rocks, but they absolutely need another goat to be happy. And so that is why I stated in my last video that I'm going to sell him, because I do not have the setup to keep him safe like he needs to be. I do not have the setup to keep the babies safe like I need to. He's not a bad goat. Someone with better fencing would have a wonderful goat. He's a good looking goat. He produces beautiful babies, and he's a milk goat. Not him, but his line, his lineage. He can produce milk does. So the one who left the comment also stated that my birds, my goats, nothing can live on packaged grains. Apparently she has not been to a stockyard where they have cattle just piled into a small area and all they get is packaged grains, and chicken houses that are fed grain. She might want to check that one out. But so my animals are not eating grain. They're eating a pelleted feed from the local feed store, which is more easily digestible to them, especially for the chickens. She stated that the chickens need grub and worms, grass and grit. And the only reason they would need grit is if they were eating other things. From the pellets they don't need grit for. But for those of you who watch my channel or have at least watched a few of the videos, you know that I feed them a lot of things. I feed them stuff from the garden. I feed them watermelon, cantaloupe, okra. What else? Pumpkin. They've had pumpkin. I don't see any left out here. But they do get other stuff. But if this individual had paid attention or watched maybe one other video that I put out, they probably would not have made the comment that they made, which is my point. Some of you know that a few weeks ago, I took several bags of sand and put it in the coop. Their coop is a giant sandbox. Sand is grit, you know, so why would anyone, without knowing anything, without knowing any facts, want to leave a comment and tell me how things are being done wrong? There was nothing, I don't think there was anything she even saw on the video that could have been taken wrong. Everything that was there was a part of the video. It was explained. That bothers me. That bothers me. There have been other comments, and you know, you just kind of let it, I don't know. Once I think about it for a couple of days, usually I just delete it. Well, they don't watch the channel, I'll just delete it. I'll never see from them again. Some of them are just mean comments, and in those cases, I'll block them from the channel. But this one, she watched one video and made a lot of assumptions. She was talking about how the animals need, you know, kind of the same thing that they would be eating out in the wild, and doing some of the same thing, like climbing on rocks, that they would be doing out in the wild. But we breed these animals down to have certain physical characteristics that we want, that makes them not able to handle the wild, or makes them not need. Some cases we breed them down to animals where they don't need some of the things in the wild. Like these goats. These goats are little bitty goats. These are not wild goats. Nigerian dwarfs aren't hanging out in the woods here in Oklahoma or Arkansas and surviving. They're not native to this place. You know, it's kind of like saying, you know, take a pack of chihuahuas outside, turn them loose so that they can go hunt game. I mean, that's kind of silly. Because although the chihuahua is an ancestor of the wolf, like way off in the distance, ancestor of the wolf, it's ridiculous to think that now that we've bred them down to be little bitty things, we can release them out to go hunt deer or elk or something like that after we've bred them like we have. Although the Chihuahua, he has the attitude of a hunter. He could probably in heart go kill a deer, but in size, he didn't have a chance. Not even a pack of them. Little close, lady, little close. I have said many times that I am new to farming and to homesteading. I've said in videos to leave comments down below on what you think, your opinions on stuff, and your experiences, because I have a lot to learn. And I know that. But I'm not stupid. And I've done some pretty dumb things, but I learn from those mistakes, hopefully. I think I do, for the most part. I feel like I need to apologize for this video. At the same time, I don't. It's a part of what I am experiencing while I learn how to homestead or farm, whichever you want to call it, and video it and document it and put it out there on the internet. It is part of that experience. And so this is not meant for any, I started to say anyone in particular. It's not. I don't think that individual is going to see this video. I really don't. It would have to be a really good thumbnail with a really good title for that person, for it to reach that person again, and for them to click on it again. So it's just on my mind. It's something that I just wanted to share. It's part of the experience. And like I said, I don't get very many negative comments. Like I get my share, but I just, in comparison to other channels, I don't. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys who are subscribed and you guys who are not subscribed. But both those of you who watch the videos and enjoy the videos and leave comments and suggestions, and you know, I really enjoy that, and I read them all and take them all to heart. Sometimes I don't know how to respond to them, but I always try to respond when I can. I always try to, you know, give some sort of response. And that may change if the channel gets big. As a channel grows, you have more and more comments and less time to respond to them, but for as long as I can, I'll respond to all of the comments. At least heart it, let you know I saw it, I did read it. If I heard it, I read it, right? But some comments don't require a response, and some I really don't know how to respond. So I just ask that, you know, not only on this channel, because I read comments on other channels that I watch, and some of those comments are brutal, and they may not come, you know, from you guys, but just out there in general on the internet, that some of them are just brutal. And just be careful how you comment, because we can't see your facial expressions and we can't hear the inflection in your voice, and we don't know always what your intentions are or what your meaning is behind the comments that you put. Now, I'm pretty sure this comment that has set me to recording this video was a negative one. And I don't know, that's it. Like, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to say anything else. I don't know if I'll delete it or not. But anyway, it's off my chest. You guys know about it. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. I appreciate each one of you.